Good morning. My name is Michelle Grant, and I am doing an interview for REN-TV in Russia. The interviewer sent me some questions. His name is Ruslan Dmitriev, and he wants to know about my take on Fukushima. We all know that I'm not an expert, but I have had some experience trying to warn people. I'm from South Carolina in America. 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, two little girls asked me why they had nosebleeds every day, and they had very dark circles under their eyes. So I started doing some research and realized it was because of the Fukushima nuclear power plant meltdowns in Japan that happened as a result of the earthquake and tsunami March 11th, 2011. So let's get to these questions. I'm going to start from the bottom and go up, since I've already introduced myself. He wants to know which areas are the most affected. Well, by now the whole world is affected by Fukushima. When Fukushima Unit 3 blew, it was full of MOX fuel that was sent illegally to Japan from Savannah Riverside in South Carolina. More on that later. The official word, what did the authorities say? Well, if you remember, Obama on March 17th, 2011 in the Rose Garden in a speech titled Standing with Japan said that radiation's not coming here if it won't harm you, so don't take precaution. You can look up any scientific information on Fukushima from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute to basically the news, and they will tell you that this man-made disaster is like sunshine and bananas and potato chips when they absolutely know better. It is not fusion, which is sunshine. It is fission, which is man-made. There's 1,946 known radioactive isotopes. Every one of them will make you sick, give you cancer, kill you. Why is this information hidden from people? Is there punishment for disseminating information? Another good question. In America, you can search out this information. There's Freedom of Information documents available to anybody that wants to know about Fukushima. However, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's FOIA documents, they will mention cesium, iodine, strontium, those isotopes, but they never mention plutonium because that's the deadliest substance known to man. And it's hidden for a reason. They don't want to go to prison. Also, they don't want the public to panic. When plutonium's in the air, you absolutely should panic and stay indoors. But they don't want commerce to end. They have a lot of reasons for hiding this from the public. There's a press blackout. More on that later. In Japan, in 2013, under Obama, Japan passed a State Secret Act. Talk about radiation, talk about Fukushima, talk about your cancers. You can go to prison for 10 years. Hillary signed a deal with Japan to continue to import their radioactive products. And that is happening to this day. There was a law passed to take off the label of origin for your food products. So you basically could be getting beef from Fukushima, Japan, and not even know it. The Northern Hemisphere got hammered in fallout to the point where it has absolutely killed the Pacific. As far as, he wants to know what happened to the fish. Okay, so I'll just give you an example. Killer whales are apex predators, right? They'll eat anything. Anything in the ocean they will eat. They are emaciated and not reproducing. So that will tell you right there that the krill is dead, the plankton is dead, the bait fish have died, the sardines have died, the starfish, the tide pools are dead, hundreds of thousands of seabirds washed up dead with nothing in their stomach. So they're starving to death. I think this is a slow burn, extinction level event. That's my question on it. He wants to know, how do these mutations manifest to new generations? Another good question. My grandmother died of kidney failure when she was 26. My mother died of kidney failure when she was 28. I was diagnosed at 29 with kidney failure, and my younger sister was diagnosed with kidney failure also. That's generational mutation right there. The bomb testing basically rained down on my family in South Carolina and destroyed the genome in my family. So my mother's kidney failure was passed on to her from her mother and passed on to me from my mother and my sister as well. Okay, so my doctors, who I printed out for you, Freedom of Information documents, and I took them to my doctors, and they ran from them, and my kidney doctor laughed about it, and he was in the Navy, and he ended up getting run out of town. Also, in South Carolina, because of Fukushima, I think, and because we're surrounded by aging, leaking nuclear reactors. We ran 2 nuclear power plants that were under construction out of town. Governor McMaster said, not one more bolt, and that was it for them, and hopefully they won't come back. How does it affect the brain? Well, it affects the decision-making part of your brain. It makes you more aggressive. We've had tons of crazy suicides by children. We've had murder-suicides. My friend stuck a knife in her chest and killed herself, 46 years old, beautiful. Who would do that in their right mind? Nobody. Another friend of mine, her 40-year-old husband had a massive stroke. She also lost a 50-year-old sister to a brain bleed, went to bed and never woke up. So we also have children who are being born with birth defects in South Carolina. We also have children developing brain tumors in South Carolina. He wants to know if I've tried to get the authorities to warn the people. Yes, I started calling state agencies immediately, and my senator and congressman immediately when I found out about these children with nosebleeds, and I didn't get anywhere with them. The only person I got anywhere with was Lieutenant DJ Riley, who basically admitted that he knew 10 to 16 nuclear power plants melted down in Japan, besides Fukushima Daiichi, which has 6, and Fukushima Daiichi has 4. So there's 10 right there. We know that they melted down. We know this. But again, Japan passed the State Secret Act, and they lied right off the rip and said, you know, that basically they weren't melting down, when we know different now with Freedom of Information documents. He wants to know about my arrest. Okay, so I was arrested in December. I was charged with unlawful use of the telephone. I called the media and the Savannah River site. Savannah River site charged me with 2 counts of misuse of the telephone, or unlawful use of the telephone. I spent 5 days in 3 different jails, and the Savannah River site charges, I spoke to a lady. She said she was a police officer, but I think she was Department of Energy. I really do. She said she agreed with me. She did not agree with the way this was handled. She spoke to the judge, and I got out of that with court cost. So a $2,180 fine cost me $100 and time served. And the judge, he was mean. He didn't want to let me go for phone calls. But that was on the Savannah River site research facility. They have their own court and their own judge at the Savannah River site. So there you go. The other charges were from the local media. The general manager of the media that I called when I tried to get him to warn the public, he actually said these words to me: "I can't verify anything you're saying." So they lied. I mean, they lied to me about not being able to verify Fukushima when we watched it blow up on television. So anyway, I'm still under those charges: misuse of telephone, and I think a stalking charge, which I never leave my house because I'm disabled. I've had 2 kidney transplants and 18 orthopedic bone surgeries. So I don't go out a lot, and I certainly don't stalk the media. So I'll be pleading not guilty to both of those. Let's see. The level of radiation, I know from Bob Nichols at Your Radiation This Week. He worked at Lost Livermore Nuclear Lab, so he knows what he's talking about. Just at the end of 2017, the counts for gamma rays were in my area 22 million counts per minute. Now, before Fukushima, 100 counts per minute was evacuation. We are so far over that now, it is a testament to God that we are all still standing. America stopped testing for beta particles. Oh, I should correct that. They stopped publishing beta counts. And where there's gamma radiation, there's also alpha and beta radiation. And it's cancer-causing fallout. Do I think they're ever going to warn the people? Well, when Donald Trump was elected, Fukushima trended on Facebook for 3 days, and Fox News, one of their mockingbirds, said radiation's been leaking the whole time, and he looked really concerned, but then I didn't see it play again. So I don't know if they're ever going to disclose to the public. This is year number 7 on March 11th, and the Pacific Ocean is dead. But people are still swimming in it, people are still surfing in it, people are still eating the fish, which have tumors and everything else on it, and they don't care. They will, I guess a slow kill is better than no kill in their eyes. But I think personally that this is an extinction level event, and name your dead post Fukushima. How many people have you lost since March 11th, 2011? It causes sterilization. People are having trouble getting pregnant. When they do get pregnant, they're having multiple miscarriages. It's affecting everybody. I planted a garden. The sunflowers in it were fasciated. The tomatoes were fasciated. Fasciation is what fallout does to your plants. They look deformed. They look mutated because that's what they are. The plants had mutations. And the tomatoes didn't look normal. The flowers didn't look normal. Nothing in the garden looked normal. So that's what radiation does. It gets into the air, the water, the soil, and it gets into our bodies, and it causes the Wigner Effect. It's pronounced Wigner Effect, but it's spelled W-I-G-N-E-R, so we pronounce it Wigner where I'm from. It was discovered by Dr. Eugene Wigner, who basically discovered what fallout does when it settles on things. It makes it accelerated, it causes accelerated decay. So bridges are collapsing, walkways are collapsing, buildings are collapsing, and you're aging faster because that's what plutonium MOX fuel fallout does. I think that is all. So I will end this interview, and I really hope it worked this time. Thank you, Ruslan. I hope you got what you needed. Again, this is for REN-TV in Russia.